What's up, everybody? Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast. I'm Tom Curran. That's Phil Perry, as always, alongside. We're going to bring in just a minute my friend DJ Bien-Aime, who's covering the New York Jets. What are we bringing in a Jets writer for? Because as you guys have watched this offseason, it's clear in the AFC East that the top dog is the Buffalo Bills. It's also kind of clear that aside from Mike McDaniel being their head coach, the Miami Dolphins have had a spell over the Patriots. They might be better than New England. Meanwhile, the Jets, in Robert Saleh's second year, have done nothing but add. And the Patriots, despite our reporting that has tried to put a nice shine on things in recent weeks, the outflow from New England and the way they close their season has to have you a little bit nervous. Phil, can you conceive of the Jets coming up from behind and huffing and puffing on the Patriots' heels?
Sure. You can conceive of it. It's conceivable. It all rides on whether or not Zach Wilson can make a massive leap, though, right? I mean, I like their talent. I like their offensive line. They made a couple additions there this offseason. We know they drafted near the top of the draft, and they got maybe the best receiver in the draft in Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State, and maybe the best corner in the draft, Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati. So they addressed a couple of really important positions with really valuable picks, but it's all going to be for naught if Zach Wilson is the same guy he was last year, Tom. And the reason I say I can conceive of him taking a real leap is because we have seen it. We haven't seen it very often. Generally, if you come in and you stink for a while. Mm-hmm. But Josh Allen is the most recent example, and that example will now always be in the backs of all of our minds when we see a quarterback struggle in year one and say, well, he is a really good athlete with a really good arm, and this one guy in Buffalo did it really well a couple of years later. So that's the big caveat for the Jets this year is, can Wilson make an Allen-esque leap? You were very committed to the fact that it was going to be a while for Josh Allen to actually, turn from wild stallion into capable quarterback. He did it. Let's bring in our guy DJ right now. Here he is. What's up, my guy?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Just listen to you guys talk up Zach Wilson a little bit. So, I'm ready to give you guys the insight that you need.
Spill out all the intel on whether or not he can make the leap that you saw Josh Allen make, that, we saw. He didn't have that apprentice year. So how much, let me start with that question, DJ. How damaged was he by the end of his rookie year, or was he improving?
So it depends how you look at it, because earlier in the year, he was kind of slinging it around, which is why he was leading close to the tops in terms of interceptions. But towards the end of the year, he cut down on interceptions, but just the overall passing numbers dissipated. So it was kind of give or tail, right? Yep. Do you want the gunslinger that's going to sling it around and you live with the results, or do you want the game manager? So I think really what you want is a combination of both. So towards the end, you saw him take care of the football, go through his reads, hit his checkdowns. So that improved. You just need to see more production. Granted, towards the end, injuries happen. Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Jamison Crowder, Braxton Berrios, they all missed time towards the end of the year. Those are his main weapons. He didn't really have a tight end name worth mentioning. His number one running back, Michael Carter, who led the team in scrimmage yards, ended up missing a lot of time down the stretch. So it was a lot of factors that went into his overall production dropping, even though he kept his interceptions down.
Phil, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to be clear. I don't think Zach Wilson is going to be the next Josh Allen. I'm just saying he has now paved the way, right? He has shown us that it is possible, because before Allen, Tom, you may have some great examples off the top of your head that I just can't think of. I can't think of another quarterback who came in and played a little bit as a young player and absolutely stunk, and then turned around to become one of the best quarterbacks in football.
Did Derek Carr stink at first?
No, I don't
think he stunk.
No, he was pretty good right out the gate. Second round pick.
Goff stunk and then he stopped stinking. But he stinks again.
No, but he stinks. We know what he is.
Right.
It has gone the other way for some guys. Carson Wentz comes in and is a great player, and he goes the other way. But it's very rare to see guys come in. Sam Darnold's another Jets guy. Darnold comes in and he stinks, and everyone's holding out. People are still holding out in Carolina that he can play. He can't play.
Tannehill was a stink guy.
No, Tannehill wasn't a stink guy.
He wasn't that bad. He wasn't that bad.
He had some stink early. He was good against the Patriots, but
by his second year, he was like a 24 to 27 touchdown type of guy until like that last year. He was coming off a knee injury. Then he missed a couple of games with a shoulder injury. Then he went to Tennessee and he played up to, I guess, quote unquote, his talent. But he was never as bad as quote unquote Zach was early in his career.
Yeah, I guess that's why I asked how much damage was done because when a guy goes out there and performs really badly in a few games, like Darnold, I imagine that Darnold still has scars from the IC Ghost game that are going to be hard to heal. He's going to always say, boy, I remember, oh yeah, that's the scar from the IC Ghost game.
Right.
So that's why I think that he has to work through it and to heal himself. Who are the main voices in his ear, DJ, fixing him?
I think the quarterback coach and the offensive coordinator, Mike LaFleur. So I think those are the main guys. Last year, there was a lot of guys in the quarterback room. I believe he had his personal trainer in the quarterback room. There was a guy, because they brought in Matt Cavanaugh, who was there to replace kind of Greg Knapp, who tragically passed unexpectedly. So I think they were just trying to fill. You still had Rob, the quarterback coach, that was there too, along with Michael LaFleur, also giving intel. Then obviously you have Robert Saleh, who kind of oversees everything. So now they kind of cut it down to just Rob and Mike. So I think those are going to be the main guys that are going to be able to give him the advice that he needs.
And so, DJ, do you think he can? I mean, can he take the kind of leap that we're talking about here, in your opinion?
So when we talk about the Josh Allen leap, right, it's really like what he did from year 2 to 3. Year 1 to 2, there were still some questions. Granted, like his numbers jumped from, where it was to like basically a 28 touchdown guy, almost 4,000 yards of total offense, because he also had like about, I think, 600 to 800 yards on the ground and 8 rushing touchdowns. See, Zach Wilson's game is not being a running quarterback. Like he runs around to extend to throw the ball down the field, but Josh Allen can extend and run along with extend and then throw the ball down the field. So like the comp doesn't work for me because they're two totally different quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. So my thing is, can Zach go from what he was this year to Jared Goff in year 2 and 3 and sustain that? Because Jared Goff just couldn't sustain that because, for people that I talked to, he struggled reading defenses post snap. So that's the thing. Can Zach sustain post year 2 and 3 of Jared Goff? Because we all know Jared Goff looked really good for a good amount of time, and they're in the same type of offense.
They never took the training wheels off him with Goff. It was always like he's gonna mess something up here. McVay didn't seem to trust him. So if they didn't trust him, like, you have to live and die with these guys, whether it's Trey Lance or Justin Fields or Zach Wilson. I mean, the Patriots are fortunate they got, apple polisher, first in his class, model student Mac Jones, because there's not a lot of variance in what he might be able to do. He's never going to be a disaster. He's never going to go 14 picks and 14 touchdowns and 20 picks, but he's probably also not going to go 42 touchdowns and 12 picks. Maybe not. But you got to let the little fella run around. Will he be able to find that and do, like, when you look at the end of the season, Deej, the end of the season, when you're completely void of talent, it's hard to create. But now, having added Wilson, having brought in Azuma, Tyler Conklin, Ruckert as your tight end group, is there enough around him to allow him to, make some plays?
Yeah, I think there's more than enough, right? You have 2 running backs, you have 3
and Berrios,
and you got 4 receivers. You got 2 tight ends. I don't really expect much from Jeremy because he's a rookie.
Yep,
that's a hard position to transition into at the tight end spot, unless you're Rob Gronkowski. But that's neither here nor there. And then, I mean, again, like, he has a really good offensive coordinator, in my opinion. So he has what he needs around, and the defense should be vastly improved. You guys know Mac Jones had a lot of success because he had a top 5 defense who could, calm the game down and let him be a game manager. And then when he had to make certain throws, he could make those type of throws, and he had a good running game to rely on. So there wasn't that need that Mac Jones had to take over the game. So I think Zach has that type of similar infrastructure. I don't think the defense will obviously be as good as what the Patriots had last year, but I think he has the infrastructure you need. So you don't even require him to take a massive leap. You just need him to be not serviceable, but at least league average.
Just cut the crap with the mistakes. Cut the crap with the mistakes, right, Phil?
Right. That's number one. And so I think it's a positive. You know, DJ's talking about the end of the season there, and he started to learn how to take care of the ball. I think that's where you need to start, and then you grow from there. It's not, you know, you start swinging from your heels and then you learn to slap it the other way for singles. I think you have to start with one over the other. But I do think, and I don't want to keep bringing this comparison up because I agree with DJ that Wilson is not Zach Allen. They're just very different types of players. But in terms of the team building around those guys, I think the Jets have taken their cue from Buffalo in some ways. I think it's just a smart way to do it now with the young quarterback. Even the Patriots, you know, they draft a receiver in the second round. They go out and they trade for Devontae Parker. These teams now know that you have to surround these young quarterbacks with as much talent as you can. And so they've done that the last couple off seasons. If you can add a real piece almost every year, then hopefully the way it's worked with Allen, you know, right? You add Cole Beasley and you add Diggs and you add, you know, Dawson Knox in the draft. Like that's how these guys grow and develop. And so I think the Jets are going about it the right way.
Yeah, I completely agree in that aspect that they are building it the right way. So even let's say hypothetically, if Zach isn't good in year two, that offense, those pieces can look attractive to, let's say, a veteran quarterback who we don't know is going to ask out. And then boom, you have the assets to possibly make a bid on that quarterback. You know, obviously I'm thinking 10 steps down the road, but again, like now we've seen that if you can build a roster around the quarterback and he just isn't that good, you can plug in somebody else that can take that next step.
Right.
Is their offensive line still a disgrace?
No. Here's the thing. Last year, the offensive line wasn't bad. Zach took a lot of those sacks, right? Like he kind of had that Joe Burrow issue where like Joe Burrow would hold on to the ball a long time.
Something's going to happen. Nothing's happening, Joe.
Exactly. So like, that's kind of how Zach played also, because I think he was like top 5 in terms of sacks that took over 4 seconds. You know, I think he had like 30 something of his sacks were after 4 seconds, which is okay. Get rid of the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I think the offensive line actually wasn't that bad. Like now that you bring in Laken Tomlinson to put at left guard, you have Elijah Berry Tucker at right guard who flashed a little bit as a rookie. He just needs to clean up his pass protection. And then you're going to have, hopefully Mekhi can stay on the field, live up to his potential. You have George Fant at left tackle who only allowed 1 sack. You have Connor McGovern who was solid at a center. I mean, you just need solid play at a center. You don't need Jason Kelsey. You don't need something crazy. You just need solid. And so they have the pieces on the offensive line. You know, you just have to be able to play within the timing of the play, get the ball out where it needs to go. And, you know, now you have Breece Hall. He'd be able to, and Michael Carter, because they both be able to be dynamic to show that the offensive line is a lot better than what people initially thought.
I have a question for DJ because I'm not 100% sure where he stands, but I'm an avid follower of DJ's on Twitter, and I think I might know where he stands. Where would you, let's put it this way. If you had your pick of 2021 draft picks at the quarterback position, how would you rank those guys right now? Knowing what you know right now, here and now.
As prospects or as players?
As you would get them now and you'd have them for the next 4 years.
All right. So I think I probably would go Trevor still one, because I think he's going to have a big jump this year, especially when people consider like the amount of chaos that was around him, you know, like, I don't even, you know, we saw the reports. So I think I would still go him 1. 2, I like Trey Lance a lot. I'm amused by his talent. I like his talent a lot. I think in that system, with those players around him, with that offensive play caller and Kyle Shanahan, I think, you know, he should have a good year too. So now the question is Mac, Zach, or Justin. So obviously I'll probably still lean towards Zach because of the talent, right? I'm going with talent over, you know, because I mean
over decision making.
Well,
like, you know, this guy's already got that part of the thing mastered.
This is what I was getting at. I know DJ's down on Mac. He's down on Mac Jones a little bit. I know he is.
Yeah.
What do you hate about his game?
He'd be 4th or 5th. He might be 5th for you. Because if you're going talent, you'd have to maybe take Justin Fields over Mac too, right?
Yeah, but like Justin Fields doesn't have much around him. So like it's hard to put him up above anybody at this point, you know. So
what's your misgiving? I said hate, but that was overstating it.
Right. I mean, so like for me, I think, in my honest opinion, Mac Jones and Tua about the same quarterback, right? Like, give them weapons, and I think that they and a good infrastructure, and they'll be very productive quarterbacks. But when it comes down to, all right, give me a guy that can, when the play breaks down, make something out of nothing. I would rather have that. You know, I'd rather have Zach, right? So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
It's to say, like, when you think, okay, it's if you have a game-winning drive,
right,
and you're starting at your own 18 and there's 2 minutes 47, whatever situations, it's a competent defense. I would rather have Mac Jones starting that drive than really just about any of them. That's but right. If it's 3rd and 6 on the 42, your own 42, and it's down to it, well, then you start to say, I could probably use somebody who can create something and run a 4-4 to the pylon and extend this drive if they have to. Right. That was, you know, that's the thing that we all have to accept, that Mac Jones is probably not going to give it. Can. I mean, people I'm sure are sitting out there going, of course he can. I saw him run last year. But generally speaking, he's not a multidimensional quarterback. He's going to have to outthink you and out accuracy you.
Right.
So I get you on that, but I love the high floor and say, look, I'm going to be a cog in the machine, which is what he has to be early in his career. Because that's, in my estimation, what has to happen. Are the Jets going to be good enough to stop the pace? Deej, go ahead. You were about to say something.
But here's my thing, right? Mac Jones had all of that with Josh McDaniels calling plays for him.
Mm-hmm.
Now you guys have reported that there's a chance that it could be Joe Judge or Matt Patricia. So play calling is an art, as Dan Orlowski said, and that is a big fact. So do you trust Joe Judge to consistently put Mac Jones in the positions to succeed?
Phil,
I don't know how you could, right? I mean, he just has never done it. So do I trust that he knows football? Do I trust that he's a leader of men that could help a position group function? Yeah. I've never seen it with the quarterbacks. I've never seen him run an offense. So we're not going to know until we see it. So you're right on that front. And that could lead to some sort of stagnated development on Mac Jones's end. There's no doubt. I think year 2, when it comes to whether it's your ranking that we're talking about, DJ, or we're talking about Mac Jones's ceiling, year 2 for all of these guys, I think we'll all feel, if we're sitting here June 2nd, 2023, and we're doing this podcast, we will all feel that we have much more conviction as to how we feel about all 5 of these guys.
Here's the thing. Zach Wilson is in a more functional offensive situation right now than Mac Jones, even though he's with Bill Belichick and an organization that's gone to 9 Super Bowls. Mac might be more attuned to how this offense works than Joe Judge. He did it. He's performed in it. So now he's going to be in a situation where they're working together to learn things. And I also think one of the interesting aspects of this dynamic is that when you know that the OC or play caller or quarterbacks coach is semi-auditioning, it's hard to take him seriously as an overstatement, but it's hard to know where the buck stops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think, Phil, did you say it the other day, or who said it? It's like having the principal at the back of the room watching the teacher and then knowing that they're going to be writing in the book saying, yeah, you got to work on this, you got to work on that. That's a real thing. Right.
Bill's watching every move. If you ever, see any of these practices, DJ, I don't know, Patriots and Jets never overlap in the summer, but Bill Belichick is tied to Joe Judge's hip. He's watching everything he does and he chimes in, but it's Joe Judge who's kind of running like the minute to minute operation, and his boss is standing right there watching everything he does. So it's just a unique situation that we haven't seen before here.
Okay. Deej, quick read on Sauce Gardner. We're going to jump out of here. Phil's going to go get a haircut at noon. But I saw some reporting. I saw some reporting from, I can't remember which safety was saying it, DJ, but that he's everything he's cracked up to be in terms of the cornerback Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, I mean, that was the cornerback DJ Reed. That's
right.
Sauce. Like when I went to OTAs last week and I saw Sauce, I was like, yeah, the Jets didn't have anything in the defensive back room close to this last year, just in terms of just stature. He's a towering presence, and his skill, like you can see the athletic ability. I mean, and you can see early, he's going to be phenomenal in press coverage. Like there's been plays where once he gets his hands on you, he can control whichever way you want to go, and it's going to be hard to separate from him. He may have some issues with some shorter, quicker twitch receivers, but he'll eventually figure that out. The talent is there. I think you'll see flashes that he could be a top, at least for 2022, a top 5 corner within the AFC East, because the AFC East has good corners. So that's not even like
does. I was just thinking that the Miami contingent with Tre'Davious, and then the Buffalo group led by Tre'Davious White. I'm not sure who their other guy is. Off the top of my head, the
guy from Florida.
Yeah, they just drafted. Kyer Elam.
He was on the board.
I think the Jets might have a better cornerback group than the Patriots, to be honest.
I don't think anybody has a worse cornerback group than the Patriots, just based upon expectation.
Yeah. It's
Deej, do you think Phil needs a haircut?
He look good to me.
It's pretty long. It's long for me. I might have some favorable light right now.
I got the little flip going out back.
Once we get into the studio, it's like
I got my hockey hair. Who do you got in the finals? And then we're getting you out of here, DJ.
I got the Celtics because they beat the best team in the NBA. So now they're the best team in the NBA.
Big time Jimmy Butler guy right here. Big time Jimmy Butler guy. DJ Bien-Aime from New York Daily News joins us today. We really appreciate you taking the time. Let's do this again, huh?
No problem. Of course.
Thanks, DJ.
No problem. You guys have a great day.